Alright, so this one's been living in my head rent-free for like a week, and I need to talk it through with someone. So, you're it. It starts really boring on purpose. So, bear with me because the boring part is the whole point. So, there's this woman. She works at a mid-sized company, some office job, doesn't matter what. And her team hires a new guy. We call him Daniel. And Daniel is great, like immediately great. Friendly, remembers everyone's name on day one, asks about your weekend and actually listens to your answer. The kind of new hire where everyone goes, oh, thank God, finally someone normal. And our girl, let's call her the narrator, because it's her telling the story, she likes him too. They get on, desk neighbors, inside jokes by week 2, lunch sometimes, totally normal work friendship. And then there's this one little moment, barely a moment. They're at lunch and she's telling some story about her sister, and she mentions her sister's name. Let's say it's Megan. And Daniel goes, oh, how's Megan doing after the move? And she kind of laughs and says, wait, did I tell you she moved? And he goes, yeah, you mentioned it last week. And she doesn't remember mentioning it, but whatever, right? You tell people stuff and forget all the time. She'd had a lot of conversations, so she lets it go. I want you to hold on to that, by the way. So, weeks go by, everything's fine. Daniel's still great, still the office favorite. And then it happens again, on a different topic. She's stressed about a dentist appointment, and Daniel says, oh, is that the one on Thursday? And she never told anyone at work about a dentist appointment. Like, why would she? And this time, she actually stops and goes, how did you know that? And he doesn't even blink. He says, you had it in your calendar. I saw it when I was booking the conference room. Which, okay, that's actually a reasonable explanation. Shared work calendar. He saw a thing. Fine. Except, here's what got me. She goes back and checks, and the dentist appointment wasn't in her work calendar. It was in her personal one on her phone, the one he should have no way of seeing. Now, at this point in the story, I'm doing the thing you're probably doing right now, which is going, okay, there has to be an explanation for this. And I want to be fair to that because there usually is. Maybe she synced the calendars and forgot. Maybe she said it out loud near him. Well, people are bad at remembering what they've said. I genuinely tried to explain it away. But then she starts paying attention. And once you start paying attention to someone, you notice everything. She notices he always seems to know when she's had a bad day before she even says anything about it. She notices he references things she only ever talked about on the phone at home. She notices that he laughs at jokes she made in a group chat he is not in. A group chat he is not in. Because here's the thing about that detail. Every other clue had an out. The calendar, well, maybe she synced. The move, maybe she mentioned it. A bad day, Well, maybe she's just easy to read. Every single one, on its own, you can explain. That's what makes this kind of thing so slippery. Nothing is ever the smoking gun. It's always, well, maybe, until you line them all up, and then maybe stops being good enough. So she does the thing, the brave, slightly terrifying thing. She sets a trap. She makes up a fact, a fake one. She tells exactly one person, her best friend, over text, on her personal phone, that she's thinking about quitting and moving to, let's say, Portland. Completely made up, never said it out loud to anyone, just one text to one person. 3 days later, Daniel leans over at his desk and goes, "Hey, if you did ever move to Portland, would you keep in touch?" And there it is. There's no calendar excuse for that one. There's no maybe she said it. She made it up specifically so that there could be no excuses. So now the question isn't, is something wrong? The question is, how? And this is the part where I went down a rabbit hole because there are really only a few ways this is possible, and none of them are good. One, her phone. Something on her phone. Spyware, a mirroring app. Something he or someone else installed that's feeding him her texts, her calendar, her calls. That's the explanation that fits the most clues, honestly. It covers the personal calendar, the phone conversations, the texts. Two, and this is the one that actually creeps me out more. It's not the phone at all. It's that he's just watching closely for a really long time. And he's good enough at it that he's filling in gaps and getting lucky. And the Portland thing was a coincidence. Except, no, the Portland thing can't be a coincidence. It's too specific. She invented the city. And he said the city. So it has to be the phone, right? And here's what I keep snagging on. The scariest part of this isn't the spying. It's the months of being normal on top of it. This guy sat next to her, got lunch with her, had inside jokes with her, asked how Megan was the whole time, knowing he was reading her private life. And being warm about it. That's the thing that doesn't compute for me. Not person does creepy things. People do creepy things, we know that. But the sustained friendliness, the performance of it, knowing what he knew and still going, "How was your weekend?" That's not a guy who slipped up. That's a guy who was comfortable. And what gets me about the whole story, and the reason I think it stuck with me, is how reasonable every single step was. She wasn't naive. At every point, she had a perfectly good explanation, and every explanation was individually correct to consider. People forget what they said. True. Calendars sync. True. Some people are just perceptive, true. The trap wasn't her being paranoid. The trap was that being reasonable kept letting it slide. I think that's the actual lesson buried in here, if there is one. It's not trust no one. It's that when something's off, the explanation that calms you down and the explanation that is true, well, they aren't always the same thing. And the gap between these two is exactly where someone like Daniel lives. Anyway, that one wrecked me a little. If you've got a read on how he was doing it, or if you think I'm wrong and there's some innocent version I'm missing, I actually want to hear it, because I went in circles on this for way too long. And if you're into this kind of thing, me pulling apart a story that doesn't sit right, stick around, because there's going to be a lot more of it.